I studied for 6 years, manifested multiple promotions, 3 business opportunities, and an overseas trip, and then threw it all away for something way better. Grab your coffee because it's story time.
Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moon, take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you love me.
Hello and welcome officially to my channel. I have waited so freaking long to actually say that you have no idea. Like, this has been so long coming, and anyway, I feel like that is gonna get me way off track. That should be a story time for another day, why I avoided YouTube for so long. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jaimee. I am a mindset, manifestation, subconscious breakthrough coach. I do all of the things for women in business, and I am so freaking excited to be here sharing so much amazing stories and knowledge and everything with you. Like, I literally feel like I was meant to be here. And on that note, what I really want to talk about today, as you will already know from the title, is why I quit my job as a pharmacist. That's right. I manifested promotions and pay rises, literally an overseas trip. I studied for 6 years to be a pharmacist, and I also had 3 separate business opportunities that I turned all of them down and literally created a life that is actually way freaking better than that. And at the end of the day, I want to help you to do the same, but I also want to share the story of why I did that, because you probably think I'm crazy, and well, I might be a little bit crazy, but that's okay. Have you ever achieved something that you really wanted, that you worked so hard for, you gave it your all, and it was just like your obsession almost, and then you got it and you were like, oh, what the F? This is not what I wanted it to be. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And I don't know if I want this anymore. If you have felt like that in the past, then you're totally going to resonate with this story, because this is exactly what happened to me in my 9-to-5 career as a pharmacist. And so today I want to spill the tea, or coffee, because I drink coffee, not tea, on all of the ins and outs that went into me quitting the amazing job that I had with all of the amazing opportunities that I had. I really want to start though by saying that it wasn't always all doom and gloom. There actually was a time when I really loved my job. Like, I loved it so much that I was completely obsessed with my job. Like, I would be answering emails outside of work, and I would go in on my days off just to check in on things. And I actually account like the amount of work that I did is why I achieved so much in such a short period of time. I actually attribute all of the hard work that I did as to the reason why I was as successful as I was in such a short period of time. Like, I loved my team. I loved my bosses at the time when I was obsessed, because obviously otherwise you wouldn't do it if you didn't like your bosses, right? But there reached this stage, and if I'm really honest, like, I can't even pinpoint the day, the time, the event that occurred that actually led me to realize that this wasn't actually how I wanted to spend my life. I think it was really a massive comedy of things, like a comedy of errors, right? Probably errors on my behalf, but anyway, I reached this point where I was so burnt out. I had random health conditions that made no sense. Doctors couldn't tell me what the F was wrong, and I just started to hate everything. And so I've actually split this video into kind of like 3 main themes that I've noticed just on reflecting on my story. And the 3 themes really are that I was overworked, I felt undervalued, and I certainly also felt very unfulfilled in my role. It was like I'd worked so hard to achieve all of these amazing things, and it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel like what I was supposed to be doing. Like I said before, I was like burnt out. I had all these random health conditions, and I was a freaking stressed mess. Like, all of my relationships suffered because of it. It's like the only thing that I could talk about was how shit my job was and how much I hated it, right? I'm sure that we all know someone that is like in that space, and you don't want to talk to them, right? You don't want want to call someone and all they do is talk about how crap their job is and how much they hate it, but then they're like not really doing anything about it. The thing is though, I do want to say, I was actively always seeking out the next thing. And I guess that's kind of how I got to where I am now, because I was always searching for, okay, well, if I'm not happy here, then what's next? What's the next thing that I can do? What's the next place that I can go to? The thing is, I was always looking for this unicorn job that was going to allow me to live this amazing life of fun and of freedom that I so craved. And of course, all whilst making really good money. And after lots of different jobs, I found that these themes that I am going to get to eventually, these themes actually carried through no matter what job I was in. So let's like dive right into the juicy details, because I know that that's actually what you want to hear. So I guess the first thing I should start with is feeling overworked. Anyone who is in the workforce at the moment knows that there's actually no such thing anymore as a standard 9 to 5. In fact, if you have a standard 9 to 5, like as in you only work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, I want you to comment on this video because I'm freaking jealous and I need to know what you are doing, and so does everyone else, because in my career, I actually never held a standard 9 to 5. I worked any random roster throughout the week. Often I was working 10-hour days, so 8 till 5:30, sometimes longer. Oh my God, I forgot this. I actually worked a shift once at a day and night pharmacy that was 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'm not kidding you. 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I drove home that night and then I had to be back at work at 8 a.m. the next day. It's probably illegal. I'm not lying. It's probably, yeah, actually, I don't think you're actually supposed to do that, or it's like right on the borderline. But anyway, totally overworked. And something that doesn't get spoken about a lot is that as a pharmacist in like a standard pharmacy in Australia anyway, we generally work with only one pharmacist on duty unless it's a super busy pharmacy. And so what that means is that although you might get a lunch break where you can sit down and eat, you can't actually leave the store. You're still technically on duty for that half-hour break or whatever it is, because like the store can't operate without you. So you've got to be there. So it meant that I never got that like half-hour block through the day, or hour in some lucky cases, where I could just like switch off and, you know, debrief and everything. I literally was always on duty from the time that I opened the store to the time that I closed it. The other issue with pharmacy is that, like in many cases now, wages became tighter and tighter. So I was in management, which meant I actually managed the rosters, which also meant that I knew the budgets and the certain like expectations that were had of the store to achieve a certain % of wages, which meant that often I didn't get to have the support that I needed in order to achieve everything that I had to achieve through the day. So this obviously led to me feeling tired and burnt out, and also having to stay behind to achieve things that needed to be done through the day that we just weren't getting to. There actually were cases where I worked as the sole pharmacist with only two support staff in the entire store. We dispensed over 200 scripts with myself and 2 staff running a whole store. Like, it's insane. I don't know any other industry, especially in health, where you would be expected to work like that and it not be like, you know, red flags. The other thing that really bothered me with pharmacy, and like this almost doesn't make sense, but even though you're entitled to sick days, it's really hard to get a sick day. In fact, it's really hard to get a day off unless you can like arrange coverage yourself, which requires you to book way in advance, but that I'm not even gonna get in. So the second part to this video is all about being undervalued. And I know that a lot of people feel this way in their jobs, and often it's because we tie our value to the amount of money that we are bringing in. And the beauty of being a pharmacist is that in most cases, we actually do earn really good money. But the thing is that there is so much that goes on behind the scenes. Like, you're probably sitting here being like, oh my God, like, you put a label on a box. and that's all you do, and you're sitting here complaining. Well, there's actually so much more to being a pharmacist than putting a freaking label on a box. Let me just tell you. Behind the scenes, this is all the things that you don't see. So obviously, yes, we take scripts in, we process the scripts, we stick labels on boxes. But what we also have to do is check that there are no other medication interactions. Check that you've had the medication before. Check that there's no extra information that needs to be provided to you. We have to check the doses. We have to check in with doctors if there are mistakes being made. And guess what? Doctors make mistakes. Sometimes there are things that we have to call the doctor about, and doctors don't like to talk to us. And receptionists, specifically doctors' receptionists, they're like, I don't know, they're like the gatekeepers to doctors, and they really don't like us. So there's also obviously a lot of other random things that go on behind the scenes of even just processing scripts. So we're always fielding phone calls and basically offering free advice over the phone, because, you know, when Betty rings up and she needs to know if this random thing that she bought from the supermarket interacts with her heart medications that she doesn't know what they are, we've got to deal with that. This is all going on whilst I'm dispensing your script and sticking the label on the box. There are obviously also thousands of other things that we do. For example, we're checking medicine packs, we are discussing things with other people in the store. We also literally have to keep an ear out across everything else that's happening in the store while we're doing all of these things, because essentially when you're the pharmacist, especially the pharmacist in charge or the manager, anything that happens in that shop is your responsibility. That means that if your assistant sells something wrong or doesn't ask the right questions, that's on you. That's your registration, right? I hope that you are like picking up what I'm putting down in. There's a lot. There's so much that we have to do. And the worst part for me was actually not the pay. It was the fact that people don't acknowledge that. You know, you have customers that come in and they are demanding and they're rude. And that was like the biggest thing for me, was feeling so undervalued and not, it's not about feeling seen, but it's just feeling appreciated. Of course, you have unicorn customers that are absolutely beautiful and like help keep you in the industry for longer. But for the most part, people are freaking rude. And the events that have unfolded over the last few years honestly made it worse. And like, I get it, it's scary times, but like, don't take it out on me. So actually, here's some really good examples of how rude people have been to me. So once I had a customer actually comment that I had put on weight. I can't even remember his exact words, but it was, yeah, basically, you've put on weight. I actually had a customer threaten me. I had to call the police. So I was threatened because she hadn't paid her account for months and months and months, and we had been chasing her, and I confronted her in store and basically just said, like, we need this account to be settled. You keep telling me that you're going to pay it, but we're not seeing any payments. And she literally blew up in front of the whole store to me. Customers were like, what the F is going on? And as she was walking out the door, she made comment to someone that she was going to be waiting for me after work to smash me. So that was a delightful day. I literally had to call the police, and I was like, what am I even doing here? Like, why? Why? I also got told another time that I was nothing more than a glorified shop assistant. So that was fun. I feel like I could talk all day about how I didn't feel appreciated by customers, but the like almost worse than that was that there were so many other health professionals in the health industry that also spoke down to us, and you know, like doctors that wouldn't take your phone calls even though you couldn't read their freaking writing. There's just been so many occasions where the media has run us down and other health professionals have run us down, and it's just, you know, again, it's like there's those unicorn doctors that really appreciate you and really appreciate the work that you do, but sometimes it's just not enough to undo everything else that is going on around you. And then the last thing for me was really realizing that owners, even though we're not like just disposable, because especially in Australia, like I said, there's a massive shortage of pharmacists because nobody wants to be a freaking pharmacist. Like, the universities aren't even pumping out students at the same rate that they used to. Owners still treat us like we can just be replaced in a day. And we all know that that's not true, but come on, if you're a pharmacy owner, freaking appreciate your staff. So this is probably some of my own doing because I did work so hard and I was so overcommitted and obsessed with my job. But I actually worked for owners that basically would contact me at any time of the day or night, including on my days off. So here's some fun stories for you. Once I received a text message at 10 p.m. at night, and it wasn't just like a random just letting you know message. It was a message that required an answer on the spot. So there was that. I also received an email at 3 a.m. Like, what the F are you even doing up talking about your business at freaking 3 a.m.? Because I'm certainly not. I got spoken to about not being at work at 10 a.m. even though my shift didn't start until 12. And I was like, my shift doesn't start till 12. And the response I got was, yeah, but you said you'd be in early. What the F? Like, what is that? Ugh. Honestly though, despite like all of those horror stories, which like, if you're watching this and you're thinking about becoming a pharmacist, like, yeah, you do you. This is just my experience in the industry. Make sure that you do your due research, right? Go and talk to other pharmacists because believe it or not, there are still pharmacists out there who absolutely love their jobs and would see themselves doing nothing else. I'm just not your girl, right? For me though, like all of everything else that I've spoken about could be completely like overridden and you could push it to the side. And I guess that's what I did for ages. If you felt a sense of purpose, if you really loved your job so much and it just lit you up every day and you just genuinely loved what you did. And for me, I just didn't. I honestly felt like I worked so hard to be unappreciated, undervalued, over freaking worked, burnt out, stressed, tired, all of that jazz, right? And to just be left feeling like it was all for nothing. Like I'd worked so hard to not be any closer to this dream life that I just felt. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I guess the point of what I was trying to really say is that you can put up with all of the BS that goes on in a job if you genuinely love what you are doing. And I just didn't anymore. I didn't, and I realized after job hopping for so long that nothing was going to change for me. And I've just always had this sense that I'm here for so much more and that I have a greater purpose in life. And I know that sounds so weird and woo-woo, but I know that there are other people out there like me because I've met so many amazing women, particularly over the last few years of this journey, that just know, they know that they're here for so much more and they're willing to just do whatever it takes to create that, to bring their freaking Pinterest vision board to life. And that is where I decided that I just couldn't do it anymore. So this like lack of purpose, honestly, was the biggest reason that I actually decided to resign in the end. Before I resigned, I actually had become already fully immersed in this like amazing world of online business, of social media, and of personal development. And it really helped me realize that the reason that I became a pharmacist was because I saw that as my way of being able to help people. Like I honestly love working with people and I want to make a difference and I want to help people live better lives. And for 16-year-old Jaimee decided that being a pharmacist was the way that she could do that. But I realized, obviously through all of the experience that I had, that it just wasn't it and it wasn't going to be it. And even though there were times that I did kind of feel that love and that joy very sporadically, where I did feel like being a pharmacist was my purpose, I very quickly realized that it just wasn't it and that, you know, that's okay. It's not a waste. I didn't do it all for nothing. I learned so much. I met so many amazing people, but I had to let that go to fully step into what I'm actually here to do. And that is to be here. So basically we are 2 years on now, and holy crap, my life is so completely different. So I now choose if I want to go into a pharmacy and work. I get asked all the time to go and help out in stores, and I literally get to say yes to the ones that I want to, which is not very often anymore, and no to the ones that I don't want to. And honestly, that's so freaking fulfilling to be able to do that. But instead, I get to spend my days with my little boy. So if you don't know, I have an 18-month-old. We love to go to the park and to the pool, and we go for coffee dates, and we literally just get to live. It's honestly this most amazing freedom lifestyle, whilst obviously being online and sharing my life and sharing my knowledge, because I've learned so much in this world outside of the standard 9 to 5, and so much about the mind and the brain and how we hold ourselves back from actually living the true purpose that we are here for. And without this journey, I wouldn't have discovered that. So now I literally get to work with women like potentially you watching, that want this epic amazing life, but they feel stuck in their career and they want an out, and I can show you what that out is. And I just realized this sounded like MLM, and it's totally not. It's totally not. I'm a coach. So I am a subconscious reprogramming coach, so I literally work with women and I help them rewire and recode their limiting beliefs and their resistance, all the things that hold them back from showing up and being the woman that they want to be in their business, in their life, essentially in their careers. But the end goal is that you're not in a career and you have the freedom that I have, right? And so that is what I get to do now, and I'm honestly so excited to share more with you about that. I have found this amazing blend of spirituality and science, like it's magic, but it's all grounded in realistic things. And it's just a whole new way of looking at things and doing things and experiencing things. It's honestly magical. Anyway, I am so excited to share more with you, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit that notification bell, and I will see you in my next video.